can't believe that it's been a whole year of River. It feels like just yesterday that I was trying to film this kind of video with her, and sitting on the floor she was ragging me around by my hair. Thankfully she has grown out of doing that now, but I just thought I'd film an update and answer your questions, specifically about owning a toddler for an entire year almost, because as you probably saw in one of my recent videos, she turned a year old last month and I've almost had her for an entire year. So I just thought I'd do an update and be open and honest about how it is to own a toddler. If I give you this, are you gonna sit in the background of this video? Do you think this will last you the whole video? You want to try? It stinks. That should keep her occupied for a fair while, but I just thought I'd make a video talking about the past year with River and how I found it, because it has definitely not been easy. I'd say it's one of the harder years of my life. Trying to balance everything, trying to do a good job with raising her and training her, and then just feeling like no matter what I'm doing, it's not always enough. And then also feeling guilty that as much energy and focus I'm putting into her to make sure that I'm doing a good job, other areas of my life have been slipping here and there. So has not been easy in the slightest. And I worry sometimes I might portray her a bit negatively. I love her so much, and I wouldn't even say that she's particularly difficult compared to some toddlers. She is a lot more on the other end. She's not as difficult as they could be, but still it hasn't been easy. I would hate to influence anyone, particularly in my position with as many subscribers and followers as I've got, to think that toddlers are easy dogs and influence anyone to just go and get one. It is pretty hard to do that because they are quite protected with their breeders, but I don't want anyone to see River and think, oh, she's really easy, she's good, she doesn't struggle with anything. I think that's why I've been so loud on her social media, showing the struggles we have, because it hasn't been easy. There's been a lot of struggles. Each week there seems to be a new one, so just want to be as honest and open as possible. She is a wonderful, intelligent, loving, amazing dog, but we still struggle, so I try to be as honest as possible, and I'm gonna be when I answer your questions. Okay, first question is, have you heard the toddler scream yet? Not fully. I've heard a little squeak from her here and there. Mostly she gets really excited to go to our like weekend obedience classes. A little one has kind of slipped out there, and a little bit at agility, but she's not done a full-blown scream. It's not something that I really want to encourage. I'm well aware in certain situations that it can't be helped, but I don't want her to be toddler screaming in a shop or a cafe or a restaurant. I do think often it's kind of a sign of them being overstimulated or over-aroused and not being like trained to be in that kind of environment. So in some situations I don't mind, but she doesn't do it, so I'm quite happy if it stays that way. Has she reunited with any siblings? Yes, I think they were around 5 months old when she saw her brother, her little mate, again, and I do think they did remember each other, because the way they were playing, she does not play like that with any other dog, and it was just so cute. I wish they all lived closer. I think they're like 3, 4, 5 hours away from us. I wish some of them lived closer, because all of them and their owners are just so lovely, and I feel left out that I can't do meetups with them more often, because that would be so cute. But next month, in a couple of weeks, I think we're going back to her breeders to do a meetup, and she's going to meet more of her siblings, like older litters, siblings, aunts, uncles, I think. So that's going to be so cute to see her with some more of her relatives. What was the most challenging thing in the year you had her? I'd say there's like 2 main things with her that's been particularly hard, that are like ongoing things that we're trying to work through. The first one is her excitement around other dogs. I have never let her excessively greet or really do any on-lead greetings with other dogs, just for her own safety, and also to prevent her from becoming reactive and dragging me over to every single dog on a walk. I put so much effort into making sure that was not a thing, but she is just naturally very, very drawn to other dogs and gets so excited if there's one in the distance. I've had to work so hard to kind of fix that and stop her just being like fixated, staring at other dogs, impossible to walk past other dogs. She's making a lot of improvements with that. The other most challenging thing is the fear periods. It's not really something that I ever really remember with my other dogs growing up, but she has had her fair share of things that she's just suddenly found really scary that previously she has been absolutely fine with. She didn't care about things like bicycles when she was very, very little, and then she had a stage where they were like the worst thing ever. Seeing them in the distance, she would just freeze up and be terrified. That is really hard to watch your dog that has been previously confident about things, watching them go through that and not really knowing what to do besides just be with them in the moment. I'd say those are like the two most challenging things that are really hard to deal with on a day-to-day basis. How is River to train? She has got two main modes. Either she's so enthusiastic and intelligent and picks things up really quick, or she's completely stubborn, will not do anything you're asking her, just completely like checks out and is like, nope. Which you just have to respect, because the more you push her, the more she's like, I'm not doing anything you asked me to do. I think partly that is also her just having a very teenage brain at the moment, but either she's amazing or she's like, you don't exist to me, I will not do anything you ask, I'm gonna be stubborn. If you were to get another dog in the future, would you consider getting another toddler? I wouldn't totally rule it out, although I have no intentions of getting any other dog in the next couple of years, and definitely not another toddler. It's nothing so much to do with the breed, although there has been things that are a lot more amplified than I did so much research, and there's still things that have caught me off guard. I'd say there's a lot more reactivity in the breed than I was aware of, just from speaking to other toddler owners. So there's just so many dog breeds I would love to own, and life is so short to get to experience them all. I don't want to tie myself down to just owning one breed of dog when there's so many other breeds I also really love and I would love to own or rescue them. I am not dead set on having toddlers every single dog for the rest of my life. I've got you now. I always wanted a toddler, and that's you. Is there anything you'd been dead set on training her or her doing that hasn't happened yet? Yes, I had this idea in my head before actually doing this, specifically with her assistance dog training. I really thought that I would have done the scent detection part of training her to detect high heart rate and maybe migraines and things. I really thought that would have happened by now, but there are so many other things that go into training an assistance dog and so many other struggles that come with having a teenage dog that need to be focused on first. I don't personally see the point in training her to detect having a high heart rate or things to help me with disabilities and chronic illness if she can't even like go in a shop or things. So working on that kind of things, the basics first, before training any kind of task or detection work. I just had it in my head, I think because of how other people portray it online. People tend to like fast track that kind of stuff. I really thought that we would have done that by now, but we haven't, and that's okay. Do you recommend the breed as a service dog? Also, how is training going? I have POTS too. I personally wouldn't. I'd say that she is a lot more calmer than most toddlers. She's a lot quieter than most toddlers, but we still have our struggles that we are working through. I wouldn't say they're breed specific, because I know a lot of Goldens and Labs that have come from service dog or assistance dog lines that are also struggling with these things or worse. So I don't think it's specifically breed specific, but I would not recommend them as a service dog, which I know sounds quite hypocritical. People said that to me when I was considering getting her as an assistance dog, but I picked her specifically because she has less of the traits that toddlers can have that make them a bit less suitable. As far as how is training going, I find it kind of a touchy subject to talk about at the moment, just because I haven't really been doing any of it. I've just been focusing on her as a dog and focusing on working through her excitement around other dogs and things like pigeons and stuff. So that has taken up a lot of my time, just dealing with her teenage behaviour, that I've not really been taking her any places or training her in certain situations. At home, like right now, she is sat on me. She loves to do things like deep pressure therapy, which is like a light thing to teach her. The actual like going out into shops and things we've not been doing a lot of, which does make me feel really, really behind, but it's hard. I don't have limited amount of energy to do that and also take her for a big proper walk, and that always comes first. Do you still think the temperament testing you did made you pick the right one? Yes, I do wish we had been able to do it a bit later, because at 5 weeks old they were still just potatoes. They didn't really know anything about the world, but that's when we had to do it. So I do think it is still accurate. She was kind of cautious about things a little bit, but she would think about things before doing them, which is what I wanted. And she recovered from things that were scary quite quickly, so I'd say those things are still true. She did really well with retrieving things when I tested her, and she loves to pick things up, so I'd say it was pretty accurate. And there was one puppy that I personally think maybe scored a bit better for assistance dog work, which you might think, well, why didn't you pick that one instead? Her personality traits I don't think really suited our at-home lifestyle very much. She was very high energy, very loud, noisy, boisterous, and from speaking to her owner, I think those things are still true. So although she didn't score the highest for all of the like assistance dog things, she fits perfectly into our life, don't you? You're a good girl. Do you regret not getting a breed more suited to assistance dog or service dog work? I've been asked this so many times, particularly when struggling with certain things with her, which I wouldn't say are even that breed specific. So many dogs struggle with excitement around other dogs and fear periods and things. Maybe that is amplified a little bit by her breed. One thing I'm definitely struggling with at the moment is her prey drive around wildlife, which we're working on. It's a work in progress, but I wouldn't say they're Toller specific things. As I said, also I do have friends that have golden retrievers and labradors that are more suited to being assistance dogs and service dogs, and I think they do come from a long line of dogs that were bred to be service dogs and assistance dogs, which does up your chances of it being more successful. But I didn't want a Labrador. I never want a Labrador, and I didn't want a golden retriever at this point. I wanted a slightly smaller breed. I always wanted a Toller, and you could get a Labrador or a golden retriever and it's still not work out, and then you've got a dog that you didn't really want otherwise. So I'm happy with my choice. I don't care if she doesn't end up, obviously I will care, but if she doesn't end up being suitable to be an assistance dog, I've still got a dog that I always really wanted, so no regrets here. Are you training with an assistance dog organisation? Yes, so I was training with a different organisation for the first like 8-9 months I had her, and I quit. I just came to the realisation that I was not getting what I expected to get from it. I was getting some support, not as much support as I expected. I really did go into this thinking that if you were signed up with an organisation, you wouldn't feel as alone with the training as I was feeling, working through all of our struggles. So I cut my losses there and I quit, and I joined a different organisation that has like 400 plus videos, not just about assistance dog stuff, but many of the other things that we were also struggling with as well. And I have minimal contact with them. I send videos sometimes to like pass certain things, but so far that's working pretty well, working alongside other like in-person trainers too. Ooh, puppy must-buys. I would say one thing that I wish I'd bought so much sooner and started to use with her is things like natural treats, natural chew toys. I bought her so many like pre-packaged treats that she just went through so quickly, especially with how much training we were doing. It was getting quite expensive, so just using natural things like chicken or cheese, and then buying natural chew toys like pizzles and rabbit ears As disgusting as I find them, those kept her so occupied and were a must-have when she was teething because she wanted to bite everything, and those would keep her chewing for like 30 minutes up to an hour, so definitely natural treats. Things you bought but didn't use. I definitely went a bit crazy on the licky mats and the like Kong type toys. I wanted to have every single different type there was, and I just don't go through them all as often as she uses them. So many of them are sat in the cupboard unused because she only has like one a day, if that, and I don't need like 20 different licky mats and things for her. One thing I have bought that I haven't really used are these like canine connectable. They're kind of like Kong type things, but the holes in them are kind of specific to the treats that you buy to put in the holes, and I just haven't bought any of those specific treats. I've tried to like mush in different food into them, but the holes are quite small, so haven't really used those either. Do you have something from her puppyhood, like an old toy or puppy teeth? I never found the puppy teeth. So I don't have many toys from when she was little. The only one that I have that she's not completely destroyed and demolished, if you've seen her like monthly progression pictures all the way up until she was a year old, there's a duck toy in those pictures, and someone asked me the other week, is that her favourite toy? And to be honest, nope. She is not being allowed to have that for an entire year because I wanted the pictures to be consistently the same. This is such an influencer thing to say. Consistently the same up until a year, and she would have shredded that toy about 2 months in. So she's finally been allowed to play with that now that I'm done with those pictures. All of her other like cute puppy toys she has destroyed or buried somewhere in the garden, but I have managed to get 2 teeth. I got 2 teeth from her that I pretty much snatched from her mouth as they were falling out because I really wanted to keep them. So yeah, we have a jar of her teeth. I think this has been the most asked question during this entire process, and thank you so much to everyone that cares so much about him, and that is, how is she getting on with her brother Hubble? Are they friends? I would not say friends, I'd say they're kind of more acquaintances at this point. She would love to be besties with him. From the day that I brought her home, obviously she was excited about his presence, but she's always been pretty good at being patient and trying with him. She does get a bit excited. We did have a stage where she went back to trying to chase him again, and we were having to keep them separate sometimes. Now they coexist, and she would love nothing more than to cuddle with him on the sofa. He does not quite feel the same. He's kind of indifferent to her at this point. There has been one time where she was fast asleep and he's gone and like sat right next to her, and she was kind of shocked because he does not do that, and she didn't dare move in case it like scared him away. But they do play together quite often. It looks a bit like he's not enjoying himself, but he loves nothing more than ambushing her and jumping out and attacking her and jumping on her back, which I do think is them playing, so they're getting there. Good boy. There's your brother. There's your brother. You just want the chicken, don't you? But she's pretty polite at letting him have his treats and his turn. Wait. Good boy. Good girl. But yeah, as time goes on, they're definitely making improvements with each other. I don't know if I thought it would take as long as it has done. I definitely felt really guilty in the start. And to be honest, even now I do feel guilty sometimes because all he's ever known for like 3 years was having our undivided attention, and now he has to kind of wait and share with her. So still feel a bit guilty at times that he's not got the entire house to himself and he's not got all of our attention to himself, but I think he's adjusted well, and I think he's starting to kind of enjoy her presence and stealing her dog food. Hey, he likes to eat your food, doesn't he? But yeah, that is it for all of the questions that you guys sent in about River and how I found owning a dog and a toddler for the past year or so. She is just so special. I mean, the fact that she has sat pretty much for this entire video without me asking on my lap, she cannot get away from me, is just really special, because some toddlers don't really like cuddling at all. So I definitely looked out in that department because she loves nothing more, even though she is super high energy in some moments, she loves nothing more than just sitting and doing nothing on the sofa all day, don't you? But yeah, thank you so much for sending in any of your questions, and thank you for being so invested in River and her training and her personality the past year or so. I know it's not my usual content, and she has taken up so much of my time and energy and emotions this past year that other things have been put on the back burner a little bit. And I know not everyone watches me for dog content, so if you have watched this entire video, thank you so much. Thank you for all of her belated birthday wishes that we received on her birthday posts. I just love her so much, and any chance to have her in a video, I always really want to. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you in my next video, which probably won't be dog related, but you might have a little feature. Bye guys!